Hello! Today I thought I would talk to you about a bit of an issue that's come to my attention with the fact that I am only reading short books. And I know why I'm doing it. I'm doing it because I have felt like I haven't been doing that well with my reading this year. So I've been trying to read some short books to get that reading back up, and it has been working. And I do enjoy the process of finishing books quite fast. I think it keeps my momentum going. But last year I was really into big books. I read The Luminaries by Ellen Catton, which I loved, that immersive experience of just getting lost in a world and knowing that you had that much to read. And I managed to get through that, which is like over 1,000 pages if I recall rightly, in 1 week. So I was really flying through and enjoying the process of reading bigger books. And I bought quite a few big books last year in the hope that I could keep that pace going. However, this year I have read practically no books that have been over about 450 words, and I mean, I read few that were that long. The majority of books I've been reading have been 300 or less really, which I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I would quite like to get back into the immersive experience of reading longer books, and I have some long books on my shelf that I really want to get to, some of which have been there for far too long and have been at the forefront of my mind, and I've been wanting to read them, but I just haven't been feeling as though I could have had the time. So hopefully in the next few months I'm going to start incorporating a few longer books back into my reading. Reading has been going better recently, so I'm hoping that that's going to be possible. Today I thought I would just talk you through a few of those books and let you know what their length is. I'm not going crazy, I'm not reading War and Peace or anything like that. I am halfway through Gone with the Wind, which is quite a hefty book. But I started that in the beginning of June, and it's weighing heavy on me. I hate having books that I haven't finished, but that book may partially be where my fear of reading longer books has come from. But anyway, so I'm going to talk you through these ones. So firstly, I've got Poisonwood Bible by Barbara Kingsolver. I have wanted to read this for the longest time. I have had this on my shelf for the longest time, and for the longest time it's been one of those books that I've been forcing myself not to read because I've got other books to read that came before it. And somehow, somewhere along the line, it has become a book that keeps getting shunned to the side, even though it's one of the older ones on my shelf now. I don't know what's going on with it, but this year I've been really meaning to get to this, and the length of it has been putting me off. Now, it's not the longest book, it is just over 600 pages, so it's not a hefty read. I should comfortably be able to get this done in a week. But I just keep putting it off, and I really don't know why. From what I'm aware, this is about a missionary who goes to the Congo with his family. I think it's meant to be quite heartbreaking, but I've heard so many things about this book that I have literally wanted to read it for about 5 years. So that's going to happen anytime soon, hopefully. This is probably going to be the first big book I read, purely because it deserves to be after all that time. Then I have got Our Mutual Friend by Charles Dickens. I keep wanting to read more Charles Dickens, and I'm pretty sure this is going to be the best place to go next. I have heard so many good things about this, as I'm sure all of you have from Katie at Books and things, and she has just made me really want to read this. My dad also keeps telling me to read Our Mutual Friend. He's only read half of it, but he enjoyed the half he read, so I'm going to be doing that soon. This is one of the biggest books on this list with 800 pages, and I'm not being funny, the writing is very tiny, so this one might not be as soon as I would like. I had hoped to read it this month, but I feel like the way my reading is going at the moment, if I read this in a month, it would probably be one of the only books that I managed to get done. So I don't know when I'm going to read it, but hopefully not too long. It's on my to be read pile at the moment, so we should get there soon. Then I've got the smallest book on the list, which is Bring Up the Bodies by Hilary Mantel. It comes in at just over 480 words, so it's quite tiny really. It's not huge, and there's not a great deal of writing to a page. However, the reason that I'm putting this in my big book list is because I read Wolf Hall a few years ago and I absolutely loved it. But it was so dense, and I think this is going to be the same. So even though it's not the longest book, I think it's going to take a long time to get through. I also kind of would have liked to go back and revisit Wolf Hall, because I think it was so dense that a lot of it goes over your head, and to think back on what happened, I just couldn't tell you. So I would have liked to revisit it before reading this, but I think that's the reason why this has been on my shelf for so long, and I need to get to more Hilary Mantel. So I think I'm just going to go into this and hopefully get going. I think it's one of those books that you can arguably read without having read the first one, so hopefully I will enjoy it anyway, and maybe more of the first one will come back to me than I realised. Then I've got The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss, which comes in at 660 pages. Some of the more astute among you will know that this was on my Christmas reading for last year, and it just never came to fruition. It kind of fell off of my TBR pile, and that was that again, because of the length. Now, I have no doubt that this is going to be an easy read and that I'm probably going to fly through it, but I'm just a bit nervous, and obviously this is opening up to a series, all of which has books about this site. So that makes me a bit scared, but I need to get to this. I think I'm really going to enjoy it. It might be good for some escapism, and I might actually boost this up on my TBR because I think it'll be quite a good place to get back into big books because, as I say, I think it's going to be quite a fast read. Finally, I've got The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt, which comes in at just over 860 pages. This was actually one of the books that I read on the back of the Luminaries, thinking that I was really going to get into big books. It's not the thickest, but it's pretty hefty, and the writing is not that large, so it's going to take a fair while. But I have not had the chance to pick it up ever since buying it, so I'm hoping that while I'm reinvigorating my big book reading, this may well find its way onto my reading pile, hopefully in the not too distant future. Again, I think this is probably going to be quite a fast read. I have only read The Secret History by Donna Tartt, which I have to say I didn't love as much as a lot of other people seem to, but I really enjoyed the reading experience, though it didn't blow me away to the extent that I was hoping. I did really enjoy the process of reading it. It was very immersive, very fast paced, and very easy to read. So I'm thinking that it's probably going to be the same for this one. So hopefully, again, it won't take too much time to get through. So those are the big books that are most a priority for me at the moment. Let me know down below how you deal with the issue of not reading as much if you read big books. Do you prefer to go for short books, or are you okay with just reading a few long books in a month? And I will see you next time. Bye!